What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today I'm going to ask a simple question. Why did Breakout need to change? Well, if you didn't already know, Breakout, one of the only new playlists added to Halo 5, has once again been massively altered. Players now have full health and shields, pistols with extended mags, and shotguns as the starting weapons. They also have radar, and changed the way the flag capture works, by making it so you have to take it back to your spawn instead of the other spawn. In addition, they've completely reworked all of the maps and I think added new ones. Changed the weapon spawns and all that other stuff. So that's pretty much a complete overhaul. And so many Halo fans like me are left here scratching our heads, asking ourselves, why? Why did Breakout need to change? Well, I'm going to answer that question, and in doing so, answer a much bigger and more important question. Why does everything in Halo 5 need to change? I've actually talked briefly about this before in one of my other videos. So let's hear a snippet of what the past man had to say. And let's talk about the inconsistent playlists. Jesus, man, the amount of changes Halo 5's playlists have gone through over the course of its lifespan could be its own fucking novel. I couldn't have said it better myself. Now, I want to say that I think changing or updating a game post-launch can be a wonderful thing. Sometimes mistakes get past the developers. I mean, we're only human. Sometimes there are exploits or tricks that create ridiculously overpowered strategies. Occasionally, you can have a game-breaking bug that needs to be fixed immediately. And sometimes the developers need to make small tweaks, or they just want to add a little bit more into the game. And this is one of the major benefits of modern-day gaming, because now, more than ever before, games are seeing more and more changes throughout their lifespans. However, this is also one of the biggest flaws of modern-day gaming, as game developers are constantly pushing the boundaries and abusing this post-launch support system as a way to cut production costs, to release broken games while promising they'll get fixed, or by not including 80% of the content that people expected. This can also upset portions of the video game's fan base because certain things they like might be completely changed. We've seen big cases of this before with the WoW server Nostalrius. Some games, like MOBAs, real-time strategies, and other team-based multiplayer games, work in a way that they are constantly evolving and changing certain things, in order to make the game feel refreshed, new, and updated. And I get that. I mean, I played League of Legends and the original Dota consistently for many years, so I understand how those types of games work, and sometimes I'm okay with all these changes over the course of a long period of time. So how does this relate to Halo 5? Well, if you've played the matchmaking for some of the other Halo games, then you know that for the most part, the playlists were changed very sparingly. The core matchmaking experience was changed very little. And if you bought Halo 5 on release day, like I did, then you know that the playlist and matchmaking experience have been everything but consistent. In the case of Halo 5, the game launched with such a small amount of core playlists that 343 had no choice but to add back these missing features post-launch. And whether you believe it was free DLC or cut content is irrelevant to this video. That's not the point. The point is that regardless of whether or not the majority of the changes to Halo 5 were good or bad, the sheer amount of them in less than a year creates such a jarring, unreliable, unpredictable video game experience. And the changes to Breakout are a symptom of a much greater problem with 343's design philosophies and Halo 5, that everything needs to be constantly changing. Now, Breakout was one of the core playlists that Halo 5 offered on launch. It was heavily advertised and built up as something great, a super competitive game mode that was supposed to fulfill a sort of search and destroy playlist in the Halo universe, something we've never really had before in matchmaking. Yet Breakout has not been spared from a whole batch of changes, updates, and tweaks. So with all that I've said so far, let's go back to my original question. Why did Breakout need to change? Trick question. It didn't. Breakout was just fine the way it was before it became unranked. And I realize that is subjective, not fact. So while I think there is no good reason for Breakout needing to be changed, I will offer some reasons why 343 might have changed it. 1. The popularity of Breakout was so low they had to alter it to attract the attention of players and populate the playlist. 2. After 3 years of development and 11 months of updates, 343 were still unhappy with Breakout and changed it to reflect their true vision of Breakout. There really aren't any other reasons for why they would change it, despite what they might have said. All these constant, unpredictable changes throughout Halo 5's lifespan really discourages me and many other Halo fans from playing the game. Why should we continue to play Halo 5 when any map, game mode, playlist, or any other feature that we love could be thrown away or completely changed at any time? It goes back to the whole trust thing. How can Halo fans trust the game developers to deliver the experiences that they enjoy when the things that they like are only available for a limited, unspecified amount of time? When it comes to Halo, that's not why I play the game. I don't play it because it's like a MOBA that needs constant post-launch support and is always changing. I play Halo partially because when I buy it, I know that what I get from my $60 purchase will still be there months down the road. I play it because I expect that most of the playlists and game modes that I enjoy will be in the game when I buy it, because I can depend on the developers to provide and meet the demands of the fans. But 343 has changed all of that. Remember when Assault was in the matchmaking for like 2 weeks and then it never returned? Remember how Team Snipers was a weekly playlist on like 4 or 5 different occasions, but yet still hasn't become permanent? Remember those maps you liked that you haven't played in months? Remember how after the Warzone Firefight update, the theater got even worse and more unusable, and they had to go back and fix it again? The game I bought for $60 almost 1 year ago is almost nothing like what it is now, and I just can't keep up with all the changes anymore. I can't read pages upon pages of patch notes every week. I can't stay updated on every map refresh, on every game mode that gets added in or taken out, every playlist that gets added post-launch, what's in each playlist. I can't keep track of my ranks on a monthly basis. It's too much for me to keep track of. And as a result, I haven't played it in about 2 months, because I know in the back of my head that everything's going to be completely different anytime I try to play it. But after hearing about the Breakout update, I knew I had to go back and check things out. Now let's look at some of the other big changes that occurred in Halo 5's lifespan and examine why they make the game so inconsistent, jarring, and unfamiliar. How about the ranking system? At launch, we had 5 ranked playlists with 10 placement matches, and each rank in these playlists would reset every month. Well, that's a lot of resetting, but not only that. Somewhere down the line, 343 switched to a 2-month reset system. Now, even though I thought this was a good change, it still screwed with my head because I was used to the 1-month system they had. So I had to retrain my brain to accept this new ranking system. And let's not forget about all the playlists that have become ranked, that have been deranked. Remember Big Team Battle used to be ranked too? Yeah, a ranked Big Team Battle playlist. Well, I guess that just goes to show how useless those ranks are now. Breakout started as ranked, then it was D-ranked, then it was Community Breakout, then it was Arena Breakout, then they added the changes and made it a ranked playlist again. And it's like, which version of Breakout is the one I am supposed to be playing? Which one is the true vision of Breakout? I don't even know. Remember Community Doubles? Yeah, that was like a weekly playlist, and then it was made a ranked playlist, and then it was changed to Valentine's Day Doubles. Then it was changed to regular team doubles, not on the community maps, and now you can start to see why I can't keep track of this shit. Another example is the post-game Carnage report. Probably one of Halo 5's biggest blunders was not allowing people to see post-game medals, tools of destruction, or pretty much any important desirable stats. But 343 changed this with the Infection update, and while it was a good change, it happened 7 months after release. So again, I had to retrain my brain and remind myself that the post-game Carnage report was actually worth looking at. So this is the true post-game Carnage report we were supposed to get, but couldn't get because of whatever reason. Now, I could come up with endless examples of this, but I'm only going to give you one more, and that is the weapon placements in the arena maps. As most of you know, being able to control the map and power weapons is key to winning games. And once again, 343 has, on multiple occasions, changed the weapon layout on nearly every arena map, and even added in rec variants. So despite all the time I spent learning the maps, again, I had to retrain my brain and find out where the hell the weapons spawn on each map all over again. As if the 9 or 10 months I spent learning these maps wasn't enough, they had to go and change all of them. So are these the true versions of these maps? Is this what we were supposed to get on launch? Why couldn't 343 just nail a good system of weapon placements and spawns and keep it at that? Is it because 343 couldn't nail good map design the first time around? Or is it because they had to change the game to make it more interesting? And I'll tell you all straight up, I think Halo games should come out with a select group of playlists, game modes. It should cater to the fans and change them only when absolutely necessary. Now you tell me if you think that's crazy or idealistic. But I don't like being forced to constantly stay updated on all the changes across the board in order to know what's actually in the game and what is playable. See, the thing with Breakout is, in my case, I thought it was great. I even made a video about it calling it Halo 5's most underrated feature. And now I can't call it the most underrated feature because it's basically just a variant of Slayer. I'll go back to that same point. Is this the true version of Breakout that we were supposed to get? Is the version I was talking about just a beta or something? I don't even know. And the problem this causes is there are basically two sides. There are people who like the new Breakout and people who liked the old Breakout. But at the end of the day, what has happened is 343 has taken something that a group of people liked and changed it so that another group of people will like it, effectively making one group happy at the expense of another. I don't think this is a good way to treat the fan base, and I don't think this is a good way to manage a Halo game post-launch. Because as I've been talking about, all of these changes, good or bad, essentially force everyone to retrain their brains. And when you ask people to retrain their brains so often, so many times, it just becomes unfamiliar. It becomes inconsistent, which makes the game much less accessible to people who don't stay constantly updated on everything that's happening. And sure, there might have been a bunch of new content added and a ton of changes over the last 11 months, but what does that say about Halo 5? What does that say about 343? When the game we got at launch needed so much support just to get to where it is now. To me, all these changes say that the developers have such a small amount of faith in the ability of their game to keep a solid player base. It tells me that in order to prevent the massive exodus that Halo 4 had, 343 needed to change things drastically, promise more content coming in the future in order to convince people to stick around. This is the reason why everything in Halo 5 needs to change. This is why there are so many map refreshes, new recs, new maps, new game modes, changes, and updates. Because 343 has no other way of maintaining a solid player base than to constantly change it, to draw attention to the changes, and hope that people want to play it and experience the new. Another possibility is this tells me that 343 was so ill-equipped to release Halo 5 with the necessary content that they had no choice but to spend an extra 11 months tweaking, changing, and adding to Halo 5 to reflect their true vision of it and the worth of the $60 purchase most of us made ages ago. At the end of the day, I just can't keep up with it anymore. I can't tell you how many community-made maps have been added in then taken out. I can't tell you what and where the weapons spawn on any of the maps. I couldn't even begin to summarize the amount of changes that have been made to this game since launch. I can't tell you about all the bugs that have been introduced through the updates and if they've been fixed or not or what. I can't tell you if Infection has gotten any new maps or game types since it came out 7 months late. I can't tell you that Halo 5 is a consistent game. And the reality is, if Halo 5 was a good, complete, functional game upon its release, then 343 wouldn't have needed to change everything about Halo 5. So what are your thoughts on the Breakout changes? Do you enjoy it? Dislike it? Has the sheer amount of updates and changes to Halo 5 been jarring to you? Or have you been reading up on it ever since launch? Have you stopped playing the game because it's so inconsistent? Or do you really enjoy playing it because it's always changing and adding new stuff? Whatever your thoughts are, I want to hear them. So post your comments down below as always. Make sure you guys check out my second channel, Actman TV, where I just made a video talking about and showing a lost video that I deleted from my channel long ago. Link is on screen and in the description. Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. That's all I got for today. This is the Actman signing out. Peace!